Hey there, I'm Josh, and I want to tell you about the time I found 2 homeless girls in my room who ended up becoming my maids. But before anything else, don't forget to hit that like button, click subscribe, and hit that notification bell icon to show your support for me. So, when I was a little over 18, my dear old granny passed away. She was like a mother to me. I never knew my parents because they kind of disappeared off the face of the earth when I was very young. My granny took custody of me and she raised me. And when she died, she left me everything she owned, from the sprawling mansion we lived in, to the boxes and boxes of cat litter and tinned food she was saving up for the impending apocalypse she was so concerned about.
It could be today, could be tomorrow. All I know is it's definitely gonna happen,
she always used to say. At least, she didn't have to stick around too long to find out. When I was told that I was her only heir, it was a weird feeling. I was still grieving the loss of my best friend and the only family I ever had. But on the other side of the coin, as her lawyers phrased it, I would not have to work a day in my life ever again. That kind of information for any teenager is life-changing. Some change for the better, and some for the worst. Luckily, my grandmother didn't just raise me. She also taught me how to take care of myself. She instilled in me the virtues of hard work and made sure I understood the value of money. When I was in high school, I took part-time shift at the local fast food joint. It was her idea. She said it'd help me later in life. I couldn't see how at the time, but I did it anyway. I've been working there for a couple years by the time my Grammy kicked the bucket, and boy, was I itching to get out. Let's just say it's not the most glamorous job. I was happy that I was earning my own money, the way Grammy taught me, but when the grief had passed and I needed to face the realities of being the caretaker of an estate and the huge sums of money that came with it, I kind of felt a bit relieved that I never had to flip burgers again. If I played my cards right, that is, it's a decent job, and all hats off to the foot soldiers of the fast food game. But dang, did they treat their employees like crap. So, I eventually quit my part-time job and became primarily focused on running my grandmother's house and making sure her investments were managed properly, and that her favorite charities were taken care of. I wanted to make her proud by not only maintaining her fortune, but also growing it. I had to learn a lot pretty quickly, all while still being in my teens. It was a whole lot of responsibility, but I didn't really have much of a choice. I just had to grow up fast. I was coming home from a charity event when I noticed something highly unusual. I highly dislike people who leave lights on when they're not in use. So you can imagine my confusion when, as I drove up the mansion driveway, I saw my bedroom window open and the lights turned on. Sure, I had a small number of staff who helped me maintain the place, but none of them stayed at the house. My heart was pounding against my ribs when I tried as quickly as I could to unlock the main door and tiptoe up the stairs to my bedroom door. Just as I rounded the corner, I heard voices. "What are you doing with that? Put that down, it's worthless," said the voice. "I was just wanting to see who lives here," answered another voice. "Why, you gotta be harping on me all this time." And then, mostly to herself, she muttered a curse. "I heard that," said the first girl. By the sounds of it, they were rummaging around my room. Thieves! I quickly dialed for the police. I knew they might be too late if I ended up getting hurt in the confrontation, but, well, what else was I supposed to do? I wasn't just gonna stand there and wait for them to steal more stuff. And since we lived pretty far out from town, the police weren't gonna get there in time anyway. So without a second thought, perhaps with not much thought, to be honest, I burst into my room and yelled, "Freeze!" For a millisecond, I looked at the burglars who looked like deer in headlights and thought, wow, that really does work. 2 girls stood before me. One had a photo of me and my grandmother in her hand, and the other was busy stuffing a huge bag with some of my possessions. To be fair, I could have just as easily let them go with their loot. I wasn't one to keep expensive stuff. I guess, at that point, it was more about the principle. I just didn't want to let criminals get away with whatever they wanted. The problem was, I had no idea what I was doing. For all my commitment to self-learning, I never did manage to enroll myself in any self-defense classes. So, When the one with the bag lunged at me as if she was about to strike me, I stuck my hand forward in a lame attempt at a defensive maneuver and caught the girl squarely on the nose. She immediately doubled over and fell on her knees. As she clutched her face with her hands, she cried out, "Gee friggin' Zus! Ow! Dang nabbit! What'd you do that for?" I looked down at my hand. Well, I thought you were gonna hurt me or something. Sorry. What? Wait, why am I apologizing? You're stealing my stuff. I was just about to explain, the girl who had now dropped the bag of my stuff said as she straightened herself up. From behind her, the other girl sniggered. "Karma got her good," she said. "Oh, shut your mouth, Lee. Karma's gonna get you too when we land ourselves in jail. I told you to friggin' hurry." It dawned on me that the girls weren't the best thieves. They just stood there bickering instead of making a run for it. It seems like they even forgot I was there, so I coughed to get their attention. The cops are on their way, so you're gonna have some explaining to do. At that, the girl that had accidentally clobbered on the nose fell to her knees again. Not from pain, but to plead her case. "Please," she begged, looking me straight in the eyes. "Please, I swear we mean no harm. We're homeless, and we haven't eaten in days. I swear we weren't gonna take anything important. We just needed to eat and get some money for a ticket." "She's telling the truth. I'm Lee, and the ugly one's Daisy," explained Lee. She fell on her knees too before she added, "We're not hurting no one. We were just gonna take things you won't miss. See?" She dumped the contents of the bag onto the floor, and out tumbled a few things they'd handpicked. She was kinda right. If I hadn't gone home early, I wouldn't have noticed that any of them were missing. In fact, I was a bit concerned at how bad they were at stealing. One, they introduced themselves, and two, the stuff they were about to take were utterly worthless. There was a small lamp, a few pieces of decor, a small painting I did when I was about 5, and a half-eaten sub they'd nicked from my room's mini-fridge. "You know, that stuff's not worth more than a few bucks, right?" I told them. I held up the lamp to make my point. "I got this at the dollar store." I could see the gears turning in their heads as they processed that bit of information. And then, the girl who introduced herself as Lee piped up. "Lies! You're rich! You don't shop at no dollar store!" I showed her the price tag that was still underneath the lamp's base, and as the light of realization dawned on their faces, I read the price out loud. 99 cents. Pretty good bargain if you ask me. That was when Daisy took my hand and squeezed on it. Please don't turn us in. I promise we won't do it again. We were just really hungry and we needed a bus ticket to get out of here. I promise. Please, just let us go." "Very hungry," repeated Lee. And as if to prove her point, her tummy began to rumble. The next thing I said was, in my opinion, the craziest idea I'd ever had. I didn't even know why or how I thought of it. But suddenly, I just blurted out, "Let me rescue you." "Rescue?" Daisy said as if the words deeply offended her. "We're not stray cats, jerk." I was flustered. I certainly didn't mean it to come out that way. So I said instead, "Right. No, I mean, let me help you. In any way that I can. Please." "Help us?" said Lee. "We just tried to rob you. What are you even saying?" Nah, interrupted Daisy. "You're trying to stall, huh? You're trying to buy time till the coppers get here. Come on, Lee, we gotta run." Before they could leave, I grabbed Daisy's arm and said as earnestly as I could, "I mean it. You said you were homeless and hungry. Let me help you. I don't want you to go back out there and steal from other people. Next time, you may not be so lucky. I don't want you going down the road. Please, let me at least give you a job or something." Job?" asked Daisy, her curiosity finally getting the better of her. "I've got a big house. I live by myself. I think I might need a maid." Or 2, I said with a smirk. What do you say? You're crazy, said Lee. You're really talking about giving a job to 2 girls who just tried to rob you? I certainly am, I smiled. Please, come sit with me in the kitchen. At least you said you were hungry. Let's talk about it over some dinner, yeah? It seemed, despite their better judgment, and mostly because of hunger, the girls stayed. We talked about how I wanted them to look after the house if they promised to not steal anymore. In exchange, I'd pay them a good salary, give them rooms, and provide them with meals. You're crazy, said Daisy. Said the one who tried to steal a 99-cent lamp, I chuckled. You're crazy, but that'd really help us a lot, Daisy said. Under the bright kitchen lights, and despite the word that Lee used to describe her, I saw that Daisy wasn't ugly at all. The police finally arrived. At the sound of the sirens, Daisy and Lee almost took off, but I told them I wouldn't let the cops take them. I gave some lame excuse to the police and apologized for wasting their time. They told me off and left. It's been about a month since Lee and Daisy started working for me. They eat a lot, and Grammy's cat hates them, but they clean well, and they're hard workers. And hey, I'm living with 2 maids. They smile sometimes, so no complaints here.